Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to film a tag video, which you can tell from the title, and this time I was actually tagged to do it. I do really like this tag, so maybe I would have done it anyway, but it's really nice to be tagged for once. So the person that tagged me is Jolien. Her channel name is Jolien Reads. She has an amazing channel all about fantasy books. She reads like all kind of fantasy, from like fairy tale retellings up to grimdark. So if you are a fantasy reader, I think you will definitely find stuff on her channel that you enjoy. So I will link it down below so you can check it out. Also her original video with this tag. I don't really remember who created this tag, but if I do find the original one, I will also link that below. And yeah, I think this is such a fun tag, so I'm very glad that Jolien thought of me, and let's get into the questions. So since this is the 20 Bookish Questions tag, we have 20 questions to go through, and for once in my life I will try to make this a short video. The first question is, how many books is too many books in a series? And I gotta be honest, I think 4 is like my maximum number. I do read series that are longer than 4 books, but since I am a binge reader, I enjoy getting a whole series at once and reading it completely without reading anything in between. I think that 4 books is like the maximum amount where I can do that without feeling bad for all the other books I'm not reading at the time. So for me personally, I think shorter series are actually the better ones. There are exceptions to this rule, and as Jolien pointed out in her video, it's different when you have these like super huge fantasy worlds that have multiple series, like shorter series set in the same world. That's different. I totally think that is cool, and something like the Lee Bardugo books, which I absolutely love. They're all set in the same world, but you don't have to read it like one big series. You can take breaks in between and read like the trilogies and duologies, and I enjoy that. So usually I like to go for duologies or trilogies when I read series, because like the really long ones stress me out. And for example, one series I still have not picked up is the Diviner series, because that's 4 books and they're all massive. So yeah, I just like my series a little bit shorter so I can binge them accordingly. The second question is, how do you feel about cliffhangers? And I don't know whether I have like a huge opinion about them. I don't think I love them usually, but I totally see why people do it in books. I always like to read series as one big book, kind of. Anyways, so I don't really mind if there's a good cliffhanger at the end of the first book so you immediately want to go into the second book. One thing I don't like, what is sometimes done with cliffhangers, is when you have this huge cliffhanger or this huge twist at the end of one book, and then it's not really picked up in the second book, and it just kind of fizzles out, or is like dealt with like super quickly, and then it's, something completely different is the story of the second book. That's something I hate. But I guess apart from that, I don't really mind cliffhangers too much. Third question is hardcover or paperback, and I'm a paperback reader. I do have hardcovers as well, and I get that they look nicer, but personally I like having, a little bit of a lighter book in my hands, so I'm usually a paperback reader. Number 4, favorite book, and if you put me on the spot like that, I would have to say The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. Then least favorite book, that one is a little bit difficult because I like to forget bad books. But the one that came to mind is a German thriller, which is called Der Menschenräuber. And that was like the most fucked up thing I have ever read in my whole life. Like, I hate read that book, and it was bad. Number 6 is Love Triangles, Yes or No. Again, I think this is something I don't have like a super big opinion on. I don't really mind books that do have love triangles because I guess I grew up with them. But what I much prefer is when in the end you have just a poly relationship. You know, I don't need the girl or guy who's the main character to choose if they could all be happy together. Why not? Like, I would love that. One series where I really hope for that is the Legendborn series, so fingers crossed. Then we have a number 7, the most recent book you just couldn't finish, and I never DNF books, so yeah, that's something. But the last book I would have DNF'd, if I would ever do that and wasn't like a complete completionist, is this German book. It is, I think, called The Champagne Queen in English. The author is Petra Durst-Benning. And yeah, this is just not my genre. It's not interesting to me whatsoever. So this was a gift, and I would not have finished it if I was a normal person, basically, or a normal reader. Number 8 is a book you're currently reading. I'm currently reading mainly 2 books. My physical book is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, which I'm super excited about, and so far I'm loving it. And my audiobook is A Chorus Rises by Bethany C. Morrow, and I'm loving that one as well. Number 9 is the last book you recommended to someone, and I think apart from like, you know, videos and stuff, the last book I recommended to my partner was Know My Name by Chanel Miller, because I think everybody should read this book. Number 10 is the oldest book you've read, and this is by publication date, and that would be Antigone by Sophocles for me. So that's like an ancient Greek play. We had to read it for school, and I don't think I have read anything that was written before that. At least not completely, so that's my answer. And then number 11, the newest book you've read by publication date. And I have read quite a few June 1st releases by now, and I think those are like the most recent ones. I've read The Chosen and the Beautiful by Niveau. I have read The Other Black Girl by Zakia Delila Harris. I have read Ace of Spades by Farida Abike-Iyimide, I think, and one more, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And the first 3 I mentioned I actually read for a reading vlog, which I will link at the end if you're interested to see it. Then we have favorite author, and that would be J.R.R. Tolkien. The 13th question is buying books or borrowing books, and I enjoy both. I usually have a stack of library books sitting right on my TBR card, but I also enjoy, you know, buying books, especially since I live in Germany, and it's sometimes a little bit hard to find the original English books in the library. I think they do have a good selection here, but especially with the YA books, that's difficult. So I usually have the choice of buying the book, or maybe if I'm lucky, reading the German translation when there's one out. And since I don't like doing that, I usually buy the books. Number 14 is an interesting question. A book you dislike that everyone else seems to love. I think for me one would be The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. I think that book is so overhyped. I really don't understand it. It's not that I hated it, but I just didn't care. Maybe because I was spoiled for the ending as well. But yeah, I think there's so many great World War II books, and I don't know why this is the one that people freak out over. The other one is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I just can't with her writing style. Like, nah. I was so disappointed that I didn't love this book because everyone did back in the day. But yeah, sometimes, you know, sometimes books are just not for you, and those are 2 that, you know, are not for me. Then we have number 15, bookmarks or dog ears. And as you can see from my current read, I usually have 2 bookmarks. I would never dog ear a book, just to make that sure. I usually have one of those little magnetic bookmarks where I mark the page where I start reading at a day, and then I have like, usually a cat bookmark. That is where I'm currently at. So I have a little calendar where I write down every day how many pages I've read, and that's the way that I get to that number every day. So bookmarks it is. Number 16, a book you can always reread. And I think one that, you know, I could start anytime, anywhere, and I would love it is a Nevermore by Jessica Townsend, and the whole Nevermore series so far. There's 3 books out so far, and this is just so magical that, you know, I can see myself like having a bad day, picking it up, having a good day, picking it up. You know, being at the beach, picking it up, middle of winter, Christmas time, picking it up. So this is definitely a book that I could start whenever, and I would love it. Number 17, can you read while hearing music? I can if there's no lyrics or I don't understand the lyrics, but usually if there's no lyrics at all, then I can read with music, and I do it sometimes. I usually try to match up the music that I'm listening to the book that I'm reading. So for example, when I read The Chosen and the Beautiful, which is a Gatsby retelling, I listened to the score of the movie. Or, you know, if you read like a book that is set in like a historic time period, it's sometimes nice to listen to these kind of pieces that were written during that time. Or when you're reading a dark academia books, there is like amazing dark academia playlists with no lyrics. And so yeah, I try to mesh that up a little bit, you know, with the book that I'm reading. But then also I do like having complete quiet when I'm reading. Or sometimes I just put on like ASMR, like rain or waves or, you know, fire crackling or something like that. Number 18, one POV or multiple POVs. That's a difficult one because I don't really have an opinion on that. I do love some books that have one POV. I do like books that have multiple POVs. And I even have, you know, some books that start out with one POV and then, you know, more come into play in the later books or something like that. So yeah, I don't really have an opinion. I think it should just fit the book. So for example, I just finished reading The Other Black Girl, and with that book I would have preferred it if there was just one, maybe 2 perspectives, but I think just one would have been fine. Like all the perspectives were just confusing, and then you had even time jumps and stuff, so I didn't need that. Except for that, the book was great, so just so you know. But yeah, it depends on the book. It just has to fit the story that is being told. Like if the other perspective is confusing or just redundant, then I don't need it. Number 19, do you read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? And I am not a fast reader, I'm a very slow reader, so I usually need a couple of days, usually about a week to finish a book. So yeah, I think the last book that I finished in literally one sitting was We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson, because that was just a rainy Sunday and I had to know. Like this was one of those books that I just had to know. And the last question is, who do I tag? And this is a bit of a difficult question because yeah, I never know who's doing tags and who has done tags. So I think I will try to tag a few people where I would just really like to hear their answers, but I'm not sure whether they'll actually do it, so we'll see. So I think I will tag 3 people, but if they've already done the tag, I'm super sorry. I don't mean to disrespect. I probably just forgot because I watch a lot of BookTube and sometimes I don't remember who did which tag, so sorry for that. So the first person I would love to hear do this tag, because I love to hear her do any tag, is Yasmin Be Reading. Love her channel. She's so cool. I wish I was just a tiny little bit as cool as she is, so yeah. Then I want to tag Lala Loves Lit. I think she's moving soon, so maybe she doesn't have time to do tags. I don't know, but sometimes there are also like super fast videos you can just film, so maybe she wants to do this. And then lastly, I want to tag Annie McNulty, and she does a ton of tags, so the probability that she's already done this one is very high, but if she hasn't, maybe she would like to do it. I think it would be fun. So yeah, that's probably all the people that I will tag. I wanna again thank Jolien for tagging me. This was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed it too. I hope this wasn't a long rambly video as I usually do. I will talk to you soon. Bye!